Glad you could join us today on EARTFHFILE. I am Ayola Kasim. According to road safety experts, for every person killed on the road due to alcohol-related accidents, 2 or 3 people are killed in accidents due to fatigue. The World Health Organization is calling on governments to take concrete actions to improve the safety of pedestrians.
There are things that must be done to address the risks that these children face as they walk to school every day. Sidewalks are broken. Most children do walk to school. They often walk in the dark. They are forced to walk on the road next to cars that are driven by people who are sometimes unlicensed in extremely dangerous environments. And it's, we think, a human right of these children that they should be able to leave their homes and get to school and return home safely in the evening. And right now what's happening is an absolute scandal because these kids are walking every day in unsafe environments. And we've done many scientific studies, and they show that in some of the worst hit neighborhoods in urban Africa, over 3% of children are being injured in road traffic every year. And if that was happening in Europe or America, there would be a public outcry.
The special week that will be focused on pedestrians. That's a very welcome gesture because for a long time, these are people that have not been considered when we talked about road safety. And there's a very special and vulnerable group that is affected. These are the young children whose basic right of education is sometimes curtailed just because our roads are not safe. Every mother is in anguish as they release their children to go to school because they're not sure whether the child will come back, and if they do, will they be injured, will they be disabled? So this is a great concern, especially in the area of children.
Road traffic injuries are estimated to be the 8th leading cause of death globally, with an impact similar to that caused by many communicable diseases such as malaria. They are the leading cause of death for young people aged 15 to 29 years, and as a result take a heavy toll on those entering their most productive years. Economically disadvantaged families are hardest hit by both direct medical costs and indirect costs such as lost wages that result from these injuries. In 2010, the governments of the world declared 2011 to 2020 as the decade of action for road safety. 88 countries have reduced the number of deaths on their roads, but the total number of road traffic deaths remains unacceptably high at 1.24 million per year. The overall global road traffic fatality rate is 18 per 100,000 population. However, middle-income countries have the highest annual road traffic fatality rate at 20.1 per 100,000, while the rate in high-income countries is lowest at 8.7 per 100,000. Meanwhile, there are large disparities in road traffic death rates between regions. The risk of dying as a result of a road traffic injury is highest in Africa region with 24.1 per 100,000 population and lowest in the European region, which accounts for 10.3 per 100,000. There is also considerable disparity in rates between countries within the same region. The European region has the highest inequalities in road traffic fatality rates, with low-income countries having rates nearly 3 times higher than high-income countries. These are similar to rates in Southeast Asia and Western Pacific regions. Over a third of road traffic deaths in low and middle-income countries are among pedestrians and cyclists. However, less than 35% of low and middle-income countries have policies in place to protect these road users. Half of the world's road traffic deaths occur among motorcyclists with 23%, pedestrians 22%, and cyclists 5%, with 31% of deaths among car occupants and the remaining 19% among unspecified road users. New road safety laws have been passed in 35 countries, but only 28 countries, representing 449 million people, that is 7% of the world's population, have adequate laws that address all 5 risk factors, which are speed, drink driving, helmets, seat belts, and child restraint. Only 59 countries, covering just 39% of the world's population, which is 2.67 billion people, have implemented an urban speed limit of 50 km per hour or less, and allow local authorities to reduce these limits.
Every year, several 100,000 of people die walking, knocked over by a car or a motorcycle. Walking, these are kids walking to school, people walking to work, coming back from a playground, leaving the house and never coming back. Often people who are not even able to drive a car or even to buy one, to afford one. So the most basic form of transportation, walking, which we all do at some stage, has become a really dangerous thing to do. We need to turn that around because walking should be healthy and should be safe. This is why we have dedicated the second United Nations Global Road Safety Week to pedestrian safety. People should have the right to walk safely wherever they want to walk to.
Since 2008, 10 countries have improved their drink driving laws to meet best practice, helping protect 186 million people. 90 countries, representing 77% of the world's population, have a comprehensive helmet law covering all riders, all roads and all engine types, and apply a helmet standard. Meanwhile, progress has been made to protect rear seat car occupants through implementation of comprehensive seatbelt laws. 111 countries, that is 69% of the world's population, now have comprehensive seatbelt laws covering all occupants. However, more than half of all countries have implemented a child restraint law, but these represent just 32% of the world's population.
The Global Status Report on Road Safety 2013 shows that the number of deaths on the roads has plateaued, which on one hand is a good thing. We have stopped an increase. But on the other hand, we still see an increase in the number of deaths in more than half of the countries surveyed. This should not be. We know what needs to be done. One of the key interventions in road safety, which has been shown in many of the successful countries, is to have adequate legislation. And we know from this new report that only 15% of countries, covering only 7% of the world's population, have the adequate legislation on drinking and driving, speeding, seatbelt and helmet wearing, and the use of child restraints or child seats. Another finding of this report that is really important is that many of the people who walk and cycle or use public transportation, which are the cheapest and healthiest ways of transporting ourselves, are at risk. A quarter of those who die on the road are walking or cycling. And the majority of countries don't have policies in place to protect these, what we call vulnerable road users. This is also something we could address quite easily. In 2011, we saw the beginning of the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety, 2011-2020. With this Global Status Report on Road Safety 2013, we now have the baseline, a scientific measurement of the situation at the beginning of the decade. We'll be able to use that to measure progress in improving legislation on drink driving, seatbelt wearing, speeding or motorcycle helmet wearing, as well as many other factors. Over the decade, we'll repeat this report to be able to measure progress and also identify gaps to generate action.
According to the Global Status Report on Road Safety 2013, supporting a decade of action, Nigeria set a fatality reduction target of 48.4 deaths per 10,000 vehicles to 3.2 deaths per 10,000 vehicles between the years 2010 and 2020.
UN decades of action for road safety is for everybody. We can save millions of lives.
Nigeria is an African country that has suffered its share in road fatalities. In response to Nigeria's realities in facing road traffic fatalities, the federal government has endorsed the United Nations Decade of Action project. Though significant, this won't be Nigeria's first effort in recognizing the global initiative. The Nigerian Federal Road Safety Commission activated its Decade of Action plans back in April with a stakeholders forum. The event brought together civil society, non-government organizations, private sector, media, and academia to look at the challenges facing road safety in Nigeria. The result was a plan of action to lead Nigeria in attaining the United Nations mandate of a 50% reduction of fatalities by the year 2020.
It is very, very crucial. It's very, very crucial that we participate in that. As an African mother, we've got a responsibility to ensure that children are able to go to school, even if as pedestrians.
But there are several obstacles facing this plan, some of which include poor funding, weak institutional framework, poor driver training and tests, as well as rising motorization fueled by imported vehicles. While there is a formal audit for new road construction in the country, not all existing road infrastructure are regularly inspected. Neither are there policies to promote walking or cycling, nor policy to separate road users to protect VRUs. According to the data provided by the Federal Road Safety Corps for the report, the rate of accidents in the country is declining. However, there are reports that road fatalities in April 2013 claimed over 100 lives. On the 3rd of April, a luxury bus and a smaller bus crashed on the Abuja-Lokoja road, killing 18 people. 2 days later, 80 people died in a multiple accident along Biniore Road. On the 6th of April, at Danzigan, 11 kilometers from Potiskum, Yobe State, 20 died in an accident. April 11, 10 died on the Damaturu Gashua Road, also in Yobe State. On the 14th of the month, 7 died on the Abuja-Lokoja Road, and on the 15th of April 2013, 5 died on the Asaba-Onitsha Expressway. But the Lagos State government says the commercial capital of Nigeria, since the introduction of the road traffic law in August 2012, there has been a steady decline in the number of road accident casualties in the state. According to available statistics, 13,398 road traffic accidents were recorded in the state from January 2012 to March 2013. Governments at various levels have failed to ensure that Nigerian roads are safe for users. Unfortunately, where the roads are good, drivers' attitude is a big problem.
And when you now come into the driver itself, driving, and the drivers itself, that's where a lot of the problem of safety on our road is. Majority of people riding on our road, I don't have the facts of the figures and statistics, but I can tell you a reasonable number, not majority, a reasonable number of those driving don't really know how to drive. In
Lagos, where roads are the busiest in the country, majority of the drivers here lack knowledge of basic traffic rules. It is not uncommon to find a very old rickety car with bored tires, each with inner tubes that have been mended at least 3 times. The operator may even carry as many as 6 passengers and in his wisdom speed off on a windy road. Concerning the year of the car, the brake and headlamps may be faulty. The vehicle operator could have been a senior public officer, business contractor or commercial driver, and the passengers could have been company staff or members of the driver's family. Chances that the driver and his passengers would end up in a crash are very high, but who cares? Experts in road safety describe this scenario as one of the symptoms of road accident immunity delusion syndrome, or RAIDS. The Lagos State government, on its part, has introduced various measures to check scenarios like this, with the introduction of the MOT test, the vehicle inspection officers at some point, and even introduced psychiatric tests for traffic offenders. The psychiatric testing, is it still going on?
Yeah, it's still going on, and we're adding the training to it.
Yeah.
Training. If you have those kind of friends, we'll send you for training at our driving institute.
Okay, how many?
It's a deterrent.
How many people have been tested?
I wouldn't be able to give the figure. None of them have been found to be psychologically incorrect. So what that tells you is that it's an intentional act. If we test you and the person comes to be psychiatrically, if there's any English incorrect, then it's free. It can't be punished. It needs treatment. But we've not found anybody that has been found to be something else. So that means people do it out of ignorance. And you remember when, I think about 3 years ago, when we went on the massive anti-one-way drive, and the governor had to be involved, the attorney general involved, everybody was involved. The rate went down. And it sends the wrong signal. Is it that people are saying that they needed to be handled tough before they change? And you see, that's not the best way to handle the situation.
So in its effort to improve the driving culture in Lagos, the government established a Drivers Institute whose primary focus is to retrain professional drivers.
Inception, we found out that there was nothing like a curriculum for driver education in this country. The only thing that was nearest to this is the Nigerian Highway Code, which was not made to suit the classroom instruction. So at Inception, the Institute developed a driver education curriculum with the aid of other road safety experts from the police, from VIO, from the Ministry of Transportation, from the University of Lagos, from Lagos State University, from the Federal Road Safety Commission, from fire services. We developed a driver education curriculum, which we use. After this, we now found out that, our target group is not a group that you can come and be speaking Queen's English. So we must develop a way of communicating what we have developed in the curriculum. So we settled for interactive lectures using audio visuals.
In reality, many professional drivers on Lagos roads have no professional training, and many car owners who have been to driving schools are yet to fully understand road safety guidelines. So often, many argue and ask who has the right of way.
You give way to the traffic on your left. But what we want to say, and what we say always to people, is that you use common sense.
There are several traffic signs and markings on the road that drivers see every day, but just a few understand them. Many a times, pedestrians have to run on zebra crossing to avoid being hit by an oncoming vehicle. And some drivers don't even understand the importance of traffic lights.
The Lagos State Driver Institute was created primarily to ensure that everybody that does driving as a profession or as a business, I'm talking of my driver and your driver, and the driver to channel station, by law, ought to attend that Driver Institute once a year and to get an additional certification. This is what happens abroad. Because the requirement for commercial driving, the requirement for public transportation driving is different from the requirement for an individual driver. When you drive yourself, you are more conscious. Then when you're driving people, you are conscious of only yourself. And that's why you see drivers, they tend to bend. He has forgotten he has about 4 or 5 other people. So when an accident is about to occur, he will drive aside to safety. So for such people, they need to go for additional level of driving education. And that is why the Driver Institute was created. And we have 5 of them in 5 divisions of Lagos State. And we're still building more. And for information, all drivers in Alausa are done for the first year training. Now we're going to start the second year training because it's a yearly thing. We are not enforcing the law now because we're still in the process of public education to get a lot of people to understand what we're talking about.
According to the Road Safety International Organization, the PRI, about 85% of deaths of young people recorded annually in Nigeria, as well as other developing countries, are caused by road traffic accidents. About 3,500 deaths are recorded worldwide in a day, or 150 an hour. Nearly 3 people get killed on the roads every minute.
The launch today of the Decade of Action on Road Safety is a very significant moment for humanity. This is one of the biggest killers, especially of young people in the world today. And here the international community has decided enough is enough.
The World Health Organization had also predicted that the number of road traffic fatalities in low and middle income countries like Nigeria would rise by 83% over the period of 2000 and 2020. Screeching tires, a thunder crash, shattering glass. If you've been involved in an accident, these sounds may be all too familiar. Driving safely, defensive driving, and planning for the unexpected are the best way to protect yourself, your passengers, and your vehicle. Simply remember that it is not safe to use your mobile phone while driving. Belt up while driving, or even if you are a passenger. Don't drink and drive, and always adhere to speed limits. Steer clear of erratic drivers. Let a tailgater pass you. Keep your eyes on the road. Talking on a cell phone can distract you and lead to an accident. Keep in mind that a distracted driver might also be near you, so drive cautiously. Be alert near parked cars. Someone could open a car door or pull out in front of you. Don't drive sleep deprived. Sleep is not a matter of willpower but a biological need. If you become drowsy, pull off the road and get some rest. When passing another car, get past the driver's blind spot as quickly as safely as possible, and always remember to keep your distances. Under the banner Make Walking Safe, the second United Nations Global Road Safety Week holds worldwide between 6th and 12th of May 2012. With events registered in around 100 countries, the week seeks to draw attention to the needs of pedestrians, generate action on measures to protect them, and contribute to achieving the goal of the Decade of Action for Road Safety to save 5 million lives worldwide. And with that, we come to the end of the program. Thank you for being a part of the show. But do you have any comments or questions? You can send them to us by writing to EARTFHFILE@channelstv.com. From me and the rest of the crew, bye for now.